innovation distinguishes between the leader and followers, Steve Jobs once proved. Everyone thinks of changing the world, but you don't really face the changing the stuff, because innovation really begins with us. So what is your definition of innovation? Why are you here? See, honey, okay. Why are you here? Why do you need it? I have got handouts that my friend Catches the HTV is going to hand out at the end, which is a presentation handout of this speech, which also includes exercises for you. What was that? I hope that worked, yeah. So innovation, as we define it, is the process of creating value by applying novel solutions to meaningful problems. Innovation is not a light bulb that goes out. It's not an inspiration spark. It is really a process that includes a creative phase and an execution phase. Innovation is the delivery of new value using new knowledge to better serve customers, actually better, faster, and cheaper. According to my friend Tracy Owens of ASQ, I'm serve on the Innovation Council at ASQ. So this is what we have as a definition of it. Innovation is another way of keeping our promise to always meeting our customers' expectations of quality and service. Happy customers keep us in business. We're looking for sustainability. We're looking for novel solutions to create more value so that we can create new ways of keeping our customers happy. The purpose of a company is to create a customer, as Peter Drucker would say. Continuous improvement versus innovation. Sometimes we need to know the difference between the two. What is the difference? Do they both contribute to the ideal and future readiness? So what is your organization designed for? Is it designed for innovation, or is it designed for the status quo? Unfortunately, very large companies are built for performance improvement, not for innovation, which is why we see so many small companies, come up out of nowhere with great innovative ideas, and larger companies are not nimble enough to be able to do that. See, sometimes you have to disrupt the status quo. The horse and buggy could never, ever evolve or be tweaked enough to evolve into a car. It's a completely different technology. The only similarity between the two is that the engine, like the horse, is in the front. Now, can disruptive innovation help achieve your organization's ideal, the ideal of your organization? Last night, your entire organization just burned to the ground. Nothing is left. You're assigned to start over. Here's the check. Here's the resources. Anything you want. Would it look and behave like it does today? I've never met a manager who says, yes, it would look exactly as it does today. I've talked to many managers, high-ranking executives, who say, no, it would never look like it does today. So if you could redesign it any way you want, what would it look like? Unfortunately, most managers don't know. I don't know what it looked like other than the superficial, red, sort of green, two-story, one-story, nothing really transformational. If you don't know what the ideal is, then how in the world do you know what improvements to make, what innovations you're going to need that meet the ideal, that will solve today's engineers' problems? You get what you design. If your current organization has problems of any kind, if it is if it has constraints, if it has defects and cost overruns, low production throughput, poor workforce skills, declining customer satisfaction, it was designed to deliver exactly what it is designed to produce, to generate. This is specifically why the organization cannot rise above the constraints set by leadership. Leadership has designed these constraints. They didn't go to a room and say, let's design a system with defects and cost overruns and all that. It evolved over time. They allowed it to happen. Because the problem is that leadership creates major constraints as the people problem. Our problem is our people. People don't get it. They're of low intelligence. They don't care. Then it's not it. It's the system's problem. People cannot be successful in a bad system. So what is the system? Here are 5 principles of systems thinking by someone you should know about, Dr. Russell Ackoff. Well, so we're going to talk about systems thinking. A system is a whole. It has parts that interact and connect for the purpose of meeting the goal of the system. We take a car, we take it apart, sitting in my driveway. We don't have a car. And the parts are interacting, other parts are connecting. You don't have a car. It's not meeting the goal of the system. It's to transport me. So the whole has properties that none of the parts have. In organizations, we try to improve each department the best we can. We try to have the best in terms of, let's say, software for the finance department. We try to have the greatest output in the production. But can you go all the way back? Or yeah, okay. It is things that this period. It is, and yes, this is very good to see if you should start thinking things what you found it. Yeah, I thought this is just ever to play that he best to see as he studied fact that you and art is actually a it has you he in that class you see that it will deep like the actually knowing that to a dark this do the just as I the AHD was yeah or you right you should you can water this like he did the and you not and you will be big the take the body and to be with them thanks ABA if here consider the therapist nation thing and it you get like you can that was straight chapter blue act reflects the city after city we good way to good isn't this thought is the city's heavy pocket uses initial values great government being this this is thing that I mean the city's the biggest is like the city squads is out of figure if in fact so the average from that's the what's acting shock people believe that feeling at this table how and not the city and it's not the there too with the letters but the expecting sector. Like the highlight basic truth and we put that thing the directed what it wants. It's what you can the system place
is that this the very areas with ash at the sea, you know, for the yes, this you know, and be back is what it's a state at the sea and it's a what this is a get what because that's saying yeah, the sea that it's a Asian says and usually I did that I was reason of these system not every choose why did it but you do let the people say let the realize and everything. But it is the isn't of the is out there. It's a speed there. That really the thing is in investment in the why the better really slow balloon and the doctor like the action. That's a heap of sugar, but
So oftentimes when we're creating something or we're trying to improve an area, we look at how can we create or adjust or improve the parts, thinking that we're going to improve the system as a whole, and we don't. So in this case here, the engineers decided they're going to create the very best car in the world by using the very, very best parts. You have the front end of NASCAR, the back end of John Deere, you've got the engine of the Rolls-Royce, the transmission of the Mercedes, the body of the Cadillac, and again, you don't have a car because none of the parts fit. But it's not designed to meet the purpose of the system, which is to serve specific drivers, the needs of specific drivers. There's no driver in the world that wants something like this. The purpose of the parts, as Dr. Akoff said, is to meet the goal of the system. So value to the whole is created by studying the interactions of the parts, the interactions of all the departments within an organization. When we think of it that way, all the departments of an organization that include people, processes, departments, even external relationships. How do we create value? By these interactions, improving the interactions. So we begin by, how do we begin the journey to the ideal? We envision what our ideal system is and work backwards to where we are today. This may start with whiteboarding. You have to start somewhere, but what is the ideal organization? What are its attributes? As Dr. Akoff was saying, it's not what you don't want in the system. It's what you do want in your system. So what we start with, we can map the current system, the tower organization, operations, or even of some processes. And we look for an opportunity to innovate. See, the current system, by mapping it, is supposed to reveal the constraints that are preventing flow, preventing value, exposing risk to the organization, revealing, again, what we want in the system, not just what we don't want. So this is a little hard to read, but as a process flow constraints map, here we've got like swim lanes of various contributors to producing paychecks for an organization. Indeed, it doesn't work, but the little round circles there is your legend of where the constraints, what the workers within the system or the data within the system is telling you where the constraints are. To blow this up, certain constraints may have to do with errors or delays or a crisis or waste or costs, whatever those are, that we map it out to find out where are the constraints preventing value is what we're looking to discover. And we'll see what we want in the system as well as what we don't want in the system, where there may be a crisis that could be prevented. And it's data-driven. We try to find as much data to support these constraints. Sometimes it may have to be anecdotal. You have to start somewhere to find those constraints and what kind of constraints they are. So probably one of the greatest constraints caused by leadership is siloization. Siloed companies act in silos, rely on managing the parts independent of how it affects the whole. You end up with unintended consequences if you improve one part. A friend of mine who brought in tremendous amount of new customers, 300,000 a month. As the CEO mandate, he said, you must bring in 300,000 customers a month. The organization was not able to handle 300,000 customers. They did it through offering a lousy product, which they came in short term and they would leave. The attrition was tremendous. So all that cost to acquire a customer, service the customers, use the customers, and what did they not do? They had no attempt to try to cross-sell the customers, to try to make them more profitable. They had no holistic plan on customer acquisition. It was just short-term on the books. Siloed thinking is what is causing your bottlenecks. You have siloed functions, people, departments, third parties. You've got what we've heard in every organization. We've always done it this way. The tyranny of the status quo. Worse than that is doing nothing. We'll wait and see. You had nothing in mind. You had no idea on how to make changes because you had no ideal to envision, shoot for. You've got outdated or poorly planned technology. Technology is the magic bullet these days. AI is the magic bullet. It's looking at that, and I know exactly what these CEOs are thinking when they look at AI. Cut headcount, and that is a really dangerous philosophy. You've got reliance on rework and workarounds, and this is something that's usually not on the books either. These are losses. It's nowhere to be found on the books. You've got untapped people and resources. You've got great people in the wrong place that could be helping the company. And to top it all, which I put at the bottom, is you got four priorities of what to change. What do we change? How do we know if we don't know what our deal is that we're envisioning? So what about your organization? Where are the silos? Do you have silos in your organization? Mr. Rain will always say yes. You're going to get bottlenecks in your organization. What is preventing flow? What's preventing better flow in your organization? This handout will deal with that. There's some exercises for you to help you activate innovation from this presentation. See, we get confused. Managers have a job. Your job is to work on the system, not badger people, not put plaques all over the walls about work harder, be care, prove it is your job, Your job is to work on the system so that the workers can be successful within the system. So what do we want in our system? What do we want in the ideal? We have to avoid approaching it from what we don't want. We don't want defects. We don't want poor worker skills. We don't want defects and high costs. This is the result of a special focus, and its focus is creating that ideal according to these 9 attributes. You can maybe come up with more. But what is happening? It's a flowing system of future readiness, handling today's problems, handling tomorrow's problems today. So you've got quality is continuously improving in all departments. Quality is a organizational-wide mandate. Everybody must be contributing to quality. It is just not in the product you're in the customer. If that were the case, then you could go out of business. Tremendous product, but it could cost you so much to accomplish that, to generate that you're not improved. It's not a quality-wide organization. The parties are sharing and interacting and cooperating, so you can improve quality. You have engaged, empowered, and energized workers. I've gone into many plants where the workers are disappointed. They don't feel valued. They're not empowered. They're not empowered to fulfill their job. This is called quality. They're empowered. They're not trained for that. They're trained. You do it yourself. Creativity is flowing from all departments. It just doesn't come from one department. It doesn't come from one or two people. It is something that is vital in the organization. It is a learning organization where everyone has access to the learning. The organization learns as a whole when everyone has access to it. You have crisis-ready preparedness. We're going at the end. And you have risk-taking. There's risk-taking that's going on throughout the entire organization. Ventures into new markets. You're future-ready. Your competitiveness is always you always have competitiveness because you have made your organization future-ready to an ideal, which all these 8 result in your growing customer acquisition, loyalty, and profits. All three have development. As being on the ASQ Innovation Committee, we have developed 6 pillars out of an innovation center of excellence. And I don't want to make this so daunting. One person could be activating this, but you've got leaders of innovation are working to empower your organization to innovate in all departments. We want innovation coming from all departments because they know the problems that they have and what needs to change. And so you're creating an innovation strategy. You're developing an innovation culture of creativity, free exchange, and networking is established. There's an organizational structure for innovation. We're going to be attacking some of these issues that we think needs innovation, and we're going to create a team for it and get pound on this. And this is what we're going to do until it's accomplished. We've got innovation plans, processes. So the innovation plans that you develop need to have some kind of ROI. What does this mean to the organization as a whole if we do this kind of innovation? Is it something we should be doing? And when the leaders get to utilize innovation tools and techniques, and these techniques can be as simple as using whiteboarding. You have a variety of people from the different departments. There's all kinds of techniques to lead this Six Sigma together. We don't attack creating the ideal with tools. We don't say, we're to create the ideal organization through lean with the Six Sigma. We need to go through this. After this, what do we want in our system that will create innovation, that will create marketplace competitiveness? So to emphasize, hit this one really hard, that it is creating new value. And as I said before, you are creating new services for the customer. You're meeting a need. You're solving a problem. You're generating competitive advantage. And you're constantly improving quality and service at a lower cost. You can overserve your customers and go out of business. And I know cases in point where large organizations have done this. So you need people in the organization that are executives. You send people to trade shows and expect you're going to get some kind of new idea as part of the bulk of some of that. But you need people who have a high degree of curiosity. You need more than one person. They need to be set free to go into every department, talk to people, places, and things that are within the organization, outside of the organization, talk to vendors and suppliers, and go after other industries. So what's the one I mentioned about for assembly? Google it, or is that the faster? Okay. Well, Gutenberg printing press, which changed the world, already existed. The printing press that he invented already existed. He was at a farm one day. He came to the farm, and he saw a wine press. He said, "That is my printing press." It already existed. So outside of the industry, because the problems you have may have already been solved by another industry altogether. Very likely. It's very likely. TOC, theory of constraints. This is something we're studying. There's a book I'm mentioning on the left. It asks 3 questions, and this is extremely important. We don't attack the ideal design or problems that we're having is how to make changes. That's number 3. Number 1 is what to change. What do we change? What and why? And what do you want to change it to? What do we want to change? There's an area here we're losing sales in the West Coast, and something needs to change. I mean, it is a significant amount of dollars. So we go that this is the priority. We prioritize what to change. And then this is where the systems thinking within the organization comes into play. It's extremely important is what do we change to? It's not an automatic. Is it like you need to hire more salespeople? No, you don't know yet. So we need to explore that and then how to make the change. Again, the systems thinking approach with the ideal in mind for the entire organization, including sales in the West Coast, is not automatically a revenue issue. They may come to the conclusion, close down the West Coast because it's a loss and you will never do well there. We don't know. You don't know. We don't know. And you don't know by isolating everybody to try to make those decisions by themselves without all that inputs that you need from other departments and even external. When Steve Jobs, after he was fired and came back to Apple, he had one vision to make insanely great products. Not printers, not computers, not applications, not software. Distinctly great thoughts. What does that mean? He knew the only effective judge of his company's performance was the end user. This is why Apple invented the iTunes, and Sony did not. Sony owned the music, and Sony should have been the one that invented the iTunes. When I was a boy, his favorite artist, Leonardo da Vinci. I wanted to be an artist. I could draw, still can. My journey with innovation really began with him because what he did was so interesting. Inventing inventions of war, studying geography and geometry and agriculture, animals, the human body. And one of my favorite paintings, The Last Supper, takes chili behind us. But he was a systems thinker. What made his art so great, made his thinking so great, was he thought in systems. He studied many, many topics. In school, we all said the same thing. Why do I have to learn this stuff? And that brings the same philosophy extends in the marketplace. Why do I have to learn this? I want to be a welder. Well, maybe someday you might want to be a manager and make 3 times the amount of money. So this is why you need to learn this. Yeah. So one of my engagements, working with, this one was for Nestle, for the Vital Proteins product. They have their standard operating procedures, which were pretty bad. They were based pretty much on the manufacturer's equipment manuals and written by some lower-level manager. And they didn't have flow. They needed 80,000 units to go out every day per shift, and it wasn't happening. They had so much downtime with the equipment. The workers didn't know their job, and especially they were hiring new workers constantly. And so the solution was to fast-track worker skills by replacing SOPs with what I invented, quality operating procedures, which is similar to standard work. It's a self-learning, empowering digital quality control application. So either on whether a cell phone or a iPad, the worker would have everything they need. Everything they need, it's hard to see, everything they need to do their job, whether it's safety, whether it's processes, sequences, troubleshooting, even videos in areas that they needed a refresher on or special training on. So you didn't have to bother a manager. You were able to get everything you need right there. And if you need to talk to somebody, say, it still doesn't work. The troubleshooting is still not working. There's a button right there on there to say, I need maintenance now. And it goes to the manager. So it's very holistic. It's designed for the worker to learn their job in a fast-track way, but also be self-reliant, self-empowered, empowered to control quality. Plus, secret sauce on it, it also had areas on it on how to make improvements, how to look for improvements, make improvements, or suggest improvements. The other one was working for an apparel company, and again, they were having production problems, downtime, and rework, and just getting the flow, getting enough throughput. So I felt that because each of those stations was a different machine, and you had to print the front of the T-shirt, the lean had to print the left sleeve, right sleeve. All these different machines were all took quite a bit of time. So what we're trying to do is to innovate the flow of the system. The flow of the system runs faster, better, cheaper. So I was convinced that the sleeves, left and right, should go through one machine and not through 2. Okay, and it took me a year to find somebody in Alabama who actually was doing it. I didn't hesitate, but I got contact with them. He said, "You tell me how to do this." "Oh, I will tell you everything." Thank you. So I developed 3 different ROI proposals to show upper management we could do this. This was doable. I would be lucky running day 1. So it reduced the flow, basically reduced or increasing throughput by 20%, which is significant for a $60 million company. Other one is we jumped to AI without leapfrogging over ways to automate current processes that are heavily manually driven and dependent. So in this case here, what we want to do is, this is for multiple different clients. One was government, the other one was healthcare and others. We wanted to fast track the the paperwork and appraisal process, which is heavily manually dependent. So someone's entering information and they're making manual errors, or they're trying to get it to another department for approval, and it's delayed because this person forgot to, follow up with them in a timely way. And so there's all kinds of constraints in the system. So we looked at mapping it out. We looked at the trees going, could we add what is called robotic process automation? Many people have heard of RPA. All two of you. Okay. Mr. Sherman. 2 minutes? Okay. Anyway, I solved that. The innovators, 10 minutes? You're bugging me, man. 10 minutes. Okay. Anyway, RPA is something you could look into UiPath as the key for that. You can talk to me later about that. My business card, the trillion speedy questions and beyond the sports. Your secret weapon is testing. Companies are reluctant to test. There's no time for it, and they have some kind of fear about it. But I believe that just about anything could be tested, garnered manually, or using a third party without committing to buying expensive equipment. It really should be inexpensive, obvious, low risk, and non-committal. So create 2 or 3 plans, 2 plans, whatever that is with an ROI. Say, if we tested this is what would be the outcome, the expected outcome. You test it, works, it doesn't work. You make adjustments. Crisis preparedness, and I thanks to Rod Kang-Chu, who's on the Association of Supply Chain Management's Board of Directors. I'm beginning a speech this month about this, about supply chain preparedness. And this to me is probably, there's probably no greater urgency for innovation than the supply chain, whether it's internal or external. It's both. Because managing a crisis, when it starts, is too late. And managers will make uninformed, panicky, and costly changes. So cooperative organizations can create crisis scenarios. This is basically one back to whiteboarding. Like, what would happen in this event if we have one supplier, the boat's in the Pacific, and it's sunk? Or another issue would be that you've got one supplier here in the U.S. and their building burned down. You've got delays. You've got whatever those will be. Everyone kind of just falls to COVID, but I think that's more of I'm still calling it a non. I think that the issues that are facing supply chains are much broader than that. They've got security issues. They've got logistics issues, a lot of issues. So you create each department, go to each department, you ask, what would be a crisis for your department? And they will tell you. And can we create a scenario that would address that so we are prepared as much as possible? We may not have it be 100%, but at least you have something. If you're prepared with to when it happens, you can learn from it and build and grow that crisis scenario. What you're trying to do is create a case for upper management for making changes right now, because you're exposing to them the Achilles heel of the organization. This is extreme authority. There's a choice. CEO comes up to me, I'm on the floor, and he says, Mark, you've got to help me cut costs. I'm looking at reps of defects to the tune of $250,000 a month. I'm looking at poor worker skills. I'm looking at the production cells that are passing defects. The one station to another. You're already paying huge costs in quality. You already paid for it. Now it's time to pay for high quality. High quality is free, frankly. When you start cutting your organization, you are sending the message of fear throughout the entire organization, and this is not leadership. A friend of mine, looked at Amazon, ranking official, 19,000 jobs cut in 2020, and I asked him. I said, "Were you informed about this?" He said, "Nope." Did they send you a memo that your job is safe? Nope. So the next thing I know, he says, we're not be shipped. We're going to another company. You're going to lose your best workers when you start going down this step by step. You're going to miss deadlines, defects. You don't have that knowledge that you need to really keep your customer satisfaction at a high level. So you have with your workers, you've got enough. If you're going after innovation and continuous improvement, you have everything you need right now to do more business. So why cut yourself? Why cut down the size of the organization? You're just saying, well, we don't believe we're going to be in business. Why don't more organizations embrace systems thinking and innovation? Because of fear. We're taught in school the mistakes are bad. And this can flourish in the marketplace. We have two types of mistakes. You have mistakes of commission and omission. When the forklift driver rams into the rack and destroys $20 million worth of parts, that's a mistake of commission. It goes on the books. That guy's probably fired. But it goes on the books to be trying to learn from it. This is what we're going to do, is stop that. But the mistakes of omission, because talking about testing, is trying these things. The mistake of omission is like when Xerox, with Kodak, years ago had the opportunity to pay Xerox. They didn't do it. And that's a mistake of omission. Was it on the books? Was it anywhere to be found? No. The things you don't test are not going to be in the books. You're never going to know. This is why continual testing has got to be just a mandate throughout the organization. And encouraged. I think Lou Gerstner's book, Who Says Elephants Can't Dance, great book. He developed innovations through dependence. The workers depending on each other. We talk about collaboration, cooperation, but I'm talking about dependence. When I talk about silos, all the departments collaborate in some way, shape, or form. There is collaboration. They have to. If they're not really cooperating very well, and they're certainly not depending on each other. So he took the divisions that of IBM that actually competed against each other, and he had them work together to the tune of, if you want a bonus, Division B, it's going to be based totally on the success of Division A, and vice versa. My success was dependent upon your success. Without it, you don't get nothing. And it works. He brought them to the bankers, to the retail state because of it. So we talk about an appreciative system. It's like, you go to that department, you're working with them. What can I do for you? What am I doing? What are we doing that's not really helping you? Might be constraining you, or hurting you. And how can we help you with that? And here's what you can do for me. And that's the essence of appreciative system. Together, they learn how to improve the system as a whole, not just the departments. 3 particular books I really recommend. The Idealized Design by Russell Lakoff, seminal book, Foundation of All Systems Thinking, is Dr. Deming, and then The Goal, Ellie Goldrath, which is, it's a beautiful read. It's a novel, actually, and you'll really enjoy that. But from these things, you can understand, here's how we can create an innovative, continuously improving, interactive, all of the departments working together kind of idea design. This is extremely important. Your greatest competitive advantage is to learn and act faster than your competition. As simple as that. How can we do that? And in learning, that creates new value. This is where the hospital system used the Toyota production system to make improvements. They went to another industry altogether, and it really worked very well. And the other one, this one here, I'll send you the link. Our creator brilliantly designs systems to interact and flourish. How rules change the course of rivers. You'll be fascinated by it, as I was. And more thing, what is that? Workers need to know that their job is to control quality and innovate. Quality transformation is everyone's job. I go to the CEO and I say, people don't make this hardest. Oh, this machine, and it's the reports that's the, managing this. No, their job is quality. Their job is quality. And everything they do flows from. I expect. I'm many Dr. Days. He can't cut me off on this one. Let's raise our people outcomes to the same level as our product and our profitability outcomes. Dr. Brick, PhD. That's it. Thank you. Okay. Anybody who wants this handout, exercise this?
And listen. What else?
Okay. I'll give that to Michael.
Yeah.
Okay. You're off the hook.
Okay.
Any questions? She lost her voice, so she asked me to read this. What were you referring to when you said go out of business by over-serving customer? Fidelity Investments had this special customer group, kind of high-end, and they served them. The customers were making the money, and so it cost them to serve them. It cost them quite a bit, millions, to have them on the books. And so one executive said, well, we're going to lose them anyway. Rather than send them a letter and saying, we're done doing business with you, we're deleting your account, we need to charge you $50 to $100 annual fee. And much to their surprise, I think about 75% of customers stayed and turned that low value customer in the customers of value for what they can get cross-sell them too. So they were overserving them and they were really losing a lot of money. That's an emphasis on customer satisfaction versus customer value.